Hello and welcome to the Fit for Business Life podcast. It's brought to you in partnership with Sharp Fit for Life and the Business Buddy Network, improving the performance and transforming busy or overweight professionals, business owners and consultants along with their teams to become fitter, happier and more confident. The Fit for Business Life podcast is all about sharing passion, knowledge and expertise around business and personal performance. From our host, myself, Martin Sharp, a 30-year change maker in businesses large and small, and Dominic Furness, a world traveller and life enthusiast, plus special guests sharing their know-how and experience in making changes in business and themselves, featuring inspirational stories, insights, tips, and practical knowledge, bringing more healthier, happier, and higher achievements to your world.
Why not follow this podcast? We're live on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and drop us a like. We very much appreciate all of your support.
Now, sit back and enjoy this episode of the Fit for Business Life podcast, brought to you in partnership with Sharp Fit for Life and the Business Buddy Network.
Right, new episode 3, 4 weeks away.
Only 4 weeks till Christmas now.
I was going to do a rhyme there. 4 weeks away from Christmas Day, but
4 weeks away till Christmas. Yeah, that works.
See what I'm trying to do there, but
I see what you're trying to do there.
rudely interrupted. I'm joking.
Spoil that one. But you know, the thing is, you shouldn't spoil Christmas. You know, no sneaking down under the tree and trying to open up those presents without nobody noticing.
No, but that does kind of tie nicely to movement. You'd have to move to open those presents, and that is this week's topic.
It certainly
Movement
is.
On the way as we move towards Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the new year and everything.
Yeah, and movement is so important. It's such a fundamental part of life, and we've talked about this so many times that actually, you know, we move for more than just, you know, building muscle. We're moving effectively to live. I mean, movement is medicine. It kind of helps keep things in order. It moves the various different fluids around our body. It keeps us in a place where actually we can feel a lot more happier and healthier. So movement is very fundamental.
Oh, it's fundamental in so many aspects, for sure. Like, it really is just... It just helps, like even like mental health, like the physical, like the things you do physically really do affect you mentally as well. And like, I was just randomly thinking about like when I've injured my ankles before and getting that synovial fluid moving around. Like, I was like, even then, like, if an injury, movement is kind of the cure. It's really a big part of everything, and it's important to keep moving even in this festive season. Like, stay active.
Yeah, and that's been one of the key parts of the recovery strategy I've been using after the marathons this year. So. Active recovery to make sure that I'm constantly moving even afterwards, and again, just to make sure everything is moving around. But it was interesting you kind of touched there around, for example, mental health. And again, this is another one of those things that keeps coming up over the kind of festive period, because, you know, it's very easy to become more, I wouldn't say lethargic, because it's not that you're not doing much, but you certainly end up doing less, because, you know, when you are having more time with friends, more time in meals, etc., sometimes, especially with being darker nights and things, you might be kind of sat around a fire, you might be sat around a table, you might be sat having a meal and things, and all of a sudden you're doing less action, less activity, and that doing less can actually impact your energy levels. It can impact your mood. It can impact your digestive process. So everything just kind of starts to slow down as your activity drops off.
Yeah, and I think what you touched upon there, and you actually did in the first episode of your mince pie situation, like, I think there's a lot of things this time of year, where on their own, there wouldn't be a problem, because you were saying then, like, slipping into, like, not moving. But it's the combination of all the things. Like, there's more meals out to have, there's more like sitting down with family, there's more social time, there's the darker night. So like in summer you can do your hobbies, like if you like, none of us like mountain biking, but let's just use it. You can mountain bike in the woods until like 11 p.m. if you want to. And then this time of year, pitch black at 4:30. So like that on its own, like there's just a lot of things where like on their own you could deal with them. But like if you've only got that daylight till 4:30, then you're going to be spending time like sitting around or going for like a lunchtime meal or something, like you've literally lost a whole day, and it can be like so easy to let your movement slip. So
yeah, absolutely. And when we think back to like the heady days of summer this year, when we're doing things like the National Three Peaks, we did that on the solstice, and effectively, it felt like 18 hours of like beautiful sunlight. And
we're literally up Scarfell Pike in a thunderstorm at like 11 p.m. and it was still kind of daylight. Like, it was crazy.
It was still daylight. We weren't having to use head torches. We could see perfectly well without anything else. Okay, the sun had kind of gone down.
And the lightning was illuminating some things, but yeah. No, but the principle stands. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, whereas actually now, and I was just chatting about this, you know, after the last few hill walks we've done, we're now down to it's like 6 hours. Where if we're lucky, we've got 6 solid hours that we can actually get on and get out there. Then it is a case of bringing head torches.
Is this for the hill walking?
Yeah,
yeah, because you have to factor in the time it takes to get there. Because we don't live at the base of the hills, unfortunately.
Well, you're driving there in the dark, realistically.
Yeah, it's just and sunrise in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, but at least it's better driving to hills in the dark than it was actually driving to power stations in the dark when I used to work there.
Yeah, I
mean, this time of year was hell. I mean, there were some places I used to have to go when I worked in the power industry where you would drive in the dark, you'd arrive in the dark, they'd throw you into like some concrete bunker in the dark. And well, obviously you've got lights and unnatural light there. And then you do the work that you needed to get done, and then you drive home in the dark because you kind of finish. So you spend the entire day with absolutely zero sunlight.
Yeah, and that is like no good for your circadian rhythm or anything like that. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, for some people,
that's the reality of life.
Yeah.
So I guess I could, but this is nothing to do with movement. I'm not gonna talk about the Lumi lamp today, but we'll save it. We'll save it. But what I will talk about is, would you like a coffee from?
I would love a coffee, definitely.
This is actually the Peruvian coffee that you brought.
The Tanzanian coffee, even.
Yeah, Tanzanian. So I was thinking of a different. They've not actually. Machu Picchu's in. Is that in Peru?
That's right.
Yeah, I had that in my mind as I was.
I know that's still on the agenda. But yeah, so when it comes down to movement kind of gives us so much more. So, for example, from an energy point of view and a mood point of view, that's having to find time to actually maintain it's important, and especially, for example, thank you very much. Especially as the nights are getting a lot longer and the days are getting a lot shorter. And I was chatting with one of my clients, and one of the things that they're doing specifically, I mean, it's interesting you're saying about mountain biking because he is a big keen cyclist. He'll easily do like 100 miles on a bike ride without much of an issue. But the one thing he's found over the last few years is the quality of the other road users, let's put it that way, is getting worse.
Right. Okay.
So he's made a decision this year that he's actually going to invest in a static bike, so an exercise bike,
like a yeah, we can use brand names like a Peloton.
Yeah, we can do it like it's our podcast.
Yeah, so like a Peloton.
Yeah, that type of idea.
Right, okay, yeah.
It's not a Peloton, but that kind of idea. And that way he can maintain his fitness, and it doesn't matter, for example, how dark it is on a night, or how much it's lashing down with rain or snow or whatever else. And he'll be able to do that in a safe way because, as I said, the quality of the driving of other people on the road is probably not as good as it was a few years ago. And that means that he's got a way of being able to manage that. And it's just a little tweak that he's kind of making to his habits. But it's a really, really important tweak because it keeps him going.
And how old is this chap?
He's 47.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, for somebody like me, like the idea, like I would rather take the risk of being around the cars to be able to be outside in all the elements. But I imagine, like, with a bit of age, like making that tweak to be safer is probably quite a lot more important.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting in the last episode when we were talking about learning and how children learn different to like adults, etc. And one of the things is, as you kind of get older, you don't bounce as well.
I'm starting to learn that.
Yeah, you're definitely getting more injuries as you're starting to get older. So yes, there is a case of if you want to keep yourself going, then definitely find ways that prevent injury as you're kind of going through it.
Well, yeah, it's just adaptation. It's important because he's like keeping his hobby, and like a good friend of yours who loves his rowing machine. Like that's like an adaptation of, instead of like going kayaking and on some crazy rivers, just hit the rowing machine indoors and happy days, really. And that's helped. I know that's helped him with his recovery quite a few things actually. So.
And it's kept in kayaking as well. So there's a lot of sea kayaking all around the coast of the UK, etc. And also on various parts of the Mediterranean things. So he's very keen on that. And because he's been able to keep his fitness up by introducing things like the rowing machine, then that kind of really works. Again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to have a big trip of people and things to be able to make that work, or the safety elements of it. He's just in that kind of space.
Right. So I want to just tie this topic back to this whole movement topic. I'm going to combine it a bit with the last episode, doing movement and digestion, actually. Would you say doing like small, because you actually mentioned on one of these episodes, like going for a walk on Christmas Day itself, if you have like a big feast of like a Christmas dinner or something, does doing little bouts of movement help with the the digestion of that food, because I'll say doing big bouts of movement does not, for me, leads to an extreme blood sugar crash. I have tried that one many times straight after a roast dinner and going skateboarding, and I feel like I'm going to die. But gentle movement, going for a walk, letting the blood flow and stuff, would you say that's like something worth doing or something to be ignored? Like, I guess a fact or fad.
It's a fact. I mean, if you can get yourself out moving more, then it's going to help the transit of the food going through your digestive system. It's going to help with the digestion of that. And it means that it's just kind of breaking down those nutrients. You're going to be able to utilize them in the space that you need. So it is a good thing to do. Like you say, you remember when you get younger, your mum says, don't go swimming on a full after you've eaten a meal. It's that same kind of idea. Yeah. So you don't want to end up eating a lot and then trying to do something huge. So don't, for example, go out and try and do a sprint or something, or a lot of exercise, lots of bending, etc. But certainly getting yourself out, a nice walk, for example, would go down really well. Maybe a cycle or something that would work really well. Anything that kind of just keeps you moving, I think, is a good benefit for you there.
Definitely, and there's levels to it, because the thing is, like, we need to understand that on Christmas Day, like, a lot of people, like, I am subject to this. You're probably subject to this. Everybody, I can't say everybody, a lot of people are subject to just overindulging on that day.
Yeah,
like, that's almost like a hard fact as a British person. That's probably going to happen. So I'm just wondering, like, how we could use movement to maybe, like, mitigate, like, just adding a few things in to make that day a little bit healthier than what it could be. Like, we can't call it a healthy day because it's like not a healthy day. It's an overindulgent day. But I'm sure there's things that you can do in the run up to it and afterwards to kind of make sure that that's like a blip in like your little chart, and everything like goes back to normal afterwards, and you don't put on the weight, you don't feel, because there's a big risk there that, like, you eat too much and you're like, oh, this like feels really good, and keep doing it, and then you get more and more lethargic each day, and then heavy, and then not doing the stuff, and then work comes back around and you don't feel ready to work. So I'm just wondering how we could, like, tell people to engage in a bit of movement to kind of help counteract those problems.
You've touched on a few interesting things there. So one, for example, for many people, you do the Christmas dinner, and then you've got the Christmas afters. So it's the turkey curry for days on end, and that type of thing.
Turkey sandwiches,
turkey casserole.
I have to throw in this story. Please hold this train of thought though. But we went to see Fountains Abbey, floodlit last night, and while I was there, they had this like Christmas wrap. Talking about food again, I'm going to have to. It was like a wrap with like beef in it, gravy in it, Yorkshire pudding in it, and then Bubble and Squeak. And I'd never heard of Bubble and Squeak. I know, and everybody had that exact reaction to me.
I've made you Bubble and Squeak before.
Yeah, well, you might have done, but I was like, what is that? Like, I never heard of that, but apparently I've eaten it. But everybody had that exact same reaction that you just did. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in, but please take it back to what you were talking about before.
Yeah, so the whole idea of kind of the Christmas dinner kind of lasts for days afterwards, and it used to be kind of like a challenge. You know, how many days could you actually cook for on one day, effectively?
I can see that.
Yeah,
I mean, it could still remain a challenge if you can make it kind of healthy. The Bubble and Squeak can be unhealthy.
Yeah, well,
just vegetables.
Yeah, as long as you could make it healthier, I guess. Again, more cabbage, probably less potato.
Yeah, maybe that's a challenge for our audience there. But yeah, continue with what you're saying.
So for example, that would be a case of just changing the makeup of what we would make. So on Christmas Day nowadays, it doesn't tend to last us as many days because we're not making as much food. Mm-hmm. Also, you've probably noticed there's kind of more vegetables as well in there, and probably less of the starchy elements of it. So there's kind of less potatoes that we're kind of serving up. So if you remember back, for example, when my grandparents were alive, and we had Christmas dinners with you guys there as well. So this is probably 20 years ago. It was just ridiculous amounts of all sorts of different types of potatoes I was making and things.
Right. Okay.
But that didn't. I've learned since that's not necessarily helping.
So very carb centric.
Yeah.
Super filling and just bloaty. That's what it is. It's bloaty.
Exactly. So it's kind of changing that makeup. And if you can do the kind of like little adjustments here, for example, and like we said on the last episode, around maybe you take a few of the calories out of previous days, and maybe you use less calories in the days afterwards as well to kind of have a more loading here, then actually you can make it work for you quite nicely. And adding in the movement then just means that you're easing the digestion in. And again, a little bit of movement, still going to use a few more calories, even if it is nice, gentle, lower intensity, steady state cardio. You go out, for example, like we do, for example, our normal routine is we get up, we have a slice of Christmas cake. It's always got to be Christmas cake first thing in the morning for breakfast. And then go out and take the dogs out for a walk.
Yeah, which is it's a lovely little outing in the crisp, fresh air. It makes you feel good.
Yeah, so we're out for an hour, a good hour. So again, we're getting that kind of little bit of exercise in there. Everyone's kind of moving. Come back. I'll start cooking usually about midday-ish. We usually have Christmas dinner about 4-ish. And then we're out, we're walking, we're moving, and we're doing other things during the day. So it's not about just necessarily putting big things in there. It might be that you just take the opportunity to go do things. And in fact, last year, we went do the park run. So we did the park run in the morning and also then took the dogs out for the walk and also had the walk afterwards, etc. So again, it was just adding in those little extra things that, again, just make it just a little bit healthier.
Yeah, I didn't go on a park run last Christmas.
No,
I was bouncing back and forth between houses, wasn't I?
Yeah, no, it was just me and Mum that was on the park run.
But yeah, and the final thing for like movement, you can dance around while making that Christmas dinner. But yeah, like just to take it back to kind of the build up to all this, like just stay dialed in to a routine. Like again, that like dedication of a motivation for me, and it only works personally for me. But yeah, like I will make sure that every day leading up to it, like that I still do try get as much of the gym routine as I can in there.
Yeah, and in fact, because for many people, they do have time off between Christmas and New Year, either because they've taken it as holiday or because it's mandatory. They've got like a mandatory close down or furlough or something over that period.
This is off work, right? Yeah.
Off work, yeah. Then it gives you the opportunity there to actually potentially do more. And the choice is yours. You could, for example, then make a commitment to say, actually, no, I'm going to make sure I do the workout every single morning. I'm going to go for that run. I'm going to go for that cycle. I'm going to go hit the gym, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be anything that big. I mean, it could be, for example, just a simple thing to get yourself started. Say, I'm going to do 30 minutes of body weight functional movement every single day.
Yeah, so if you haven't got started yet, that's a good opportunity to be. It's a good window to get going.
Yeah. And it means that it starts to ingrain just the simplicity of it, the ease of it. I mean, this is what I find with a lot of people. Again, a lot of clients that come to me, that when with the first opportunity that they've had to start working on themselves, in many cases, they're advised to go to some kind of gym class or to go do some massive amounts of cardio. And many of them don't like it. It actually is something that really puts them off. Going back and doing any exercise. And the thing is that you don't have to throw yourself in at that level.
Deep end, really,
For some people, that works really well. Some people love that feeling of being half dead and sweating buckets, etc. For others, that doesn't work for them.
Yeah, it doesn't really. No, the thing that works best for me is having a crash out. But that only really works when like skating, to be honest.
Having a crash out, as in you fall to the concrete, damage yourself, and then start moaning for the next week or so.
Without the moaning, but yeah, like over and over and over and over, and just like, because I even like make sure like I keep my beanie on to punish myself, so I'm like even more hot and bothered. Like it just that is what keeps me motivated, just in that state of like I can't keep going, but I'm going to keep going. When it comes to skating, like it's an interesting place to be, and anybody watching it probably looks quite weird, but. Yeah, that is, and because that only works at this time of year too, and it's freezing because I don't wear a beanie in summer.
Half the time you don't even wear a top in summer, let alone a beanie.
Yeah, but this is the thing, like it'll be winter and I'll actually be so hot, like after doing that I do end up probably like shirtless and it's like 1 degree outside. But
Yeah.
little do people know that I've been forcing myself to keep my beanie on and all my layers and just absolutely overheated.
Yeah.
But that is like pretty cool. But yeah, kind of like, I guess I can segue that into like fitting the movement in. Like you talked about, like at this time of year with the darkness, I want to touch upon for people in the UK and Scandinavia, where we are. So like, how can you keep training when the daylight hours are short? Like if you're in the gym, that's no problem. But now, like you've added in these layers of like running, and you're talking about your friend cycling, and there's me skating. Like luckily, like the rock climbing I do is indoors, so I don't know if it's a case for me of like switching, like doing more in summer. I skate all the time, but I don't know, maybe this year I might switch it to doing a lot more climbing. And I can't really increase like how much I'm in the gym, but I could maybe add in some more like Pilates or yoga session, something like that, just to kind of like replace the skating elements, just again making those like tweaks. And then also double parter, if you do have an answer for this, like especially for you running, like you might need some reflective gear or something as a suggestion of how to still exercise safely in the dark and the cold. Because I've seen you fall over on the mountains when it's wet before, so you're probably like a good person to ask.
Yeah, definitely. So I think there's lots of things to unpack in those questions that you've just asked there. The first one is replacing things is a good idea. So if, for example, you can replace something that's outdoors with an indoor version of it and you enjoy it, that's the other kind of key thing. It's got to be something you can sustain and you enjoy. Then go ahead and do so. I think that's a good option to do. So indoor cycling versus outdoor cycling, indoor climbing versus outdoor climbing. Yeah, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I must admit, I am not an indoor runner. I loathe and despise running machines. I think they are definitely a torture device. I don't think they're necessarily something that is good for your body in any way, shape, or form.
But some people might like it and find it good.
Some
That's
people
the
do
thing.
like it, yeah.
But yeah, so would you? I said the thing about having reflectors on your jacket or something. But would you like switch up your shoes that you're going to run in winter?
I think when it comes to running in winter, obviously try and do it during the day, during the lighter hours. So, for example, if you have the opportunity to be able to run during lunchtime, brilliant. Especially
So when the sun has thawed out the paths and stuff.
exactly, it's safer. You're going to be seen more, etc. It's usually a little bit warmer as well. So all round, it's a much more pleasant experience if you can do that. It's not always possible, 100% guarantee that. And there's many times, for example, I'll do running at night, and you're right, it's a case of just making sure it's not running at night; it's just running in the dark
In low
hours.
light, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just making sure that you're wearing things that make you visible. So for me, it's high reflective, so like jackets and things. It's having the reflectors on when you've got on your shoes and stuff. All those kind of things work well. And potentially having a head torch if you're going down dark paths, because again, it's not just a case of you being seen; it's also a case of you being able to see. And also, it's layering up because when you start your run, you might be cold. For example, if it's like below zero temperatures, then you might be feeling cold when you start. But as you start to then run and warm up, you're going to find yourself getting hotter and hotter. So you have to have a way of being able to remove layers safely, but not be too bulky so that it's taking up too much. And then when you start to either slow down or stop, then you can put the layers back on so you can retain that heat. So again, it might be, for example, looking at having a series of running leggings, running kind of top, thermal top of some kind, maybe. Maybe having like 2 or 3 t-shirts on, maybe a running jumper or something that you can have on top of that. It might be, for example, you put shorts on as well. Might be having the hat on. It might be having gloves. There's all things that you can start to add into this, but then again, being able to de-layer it. And so then where are you going to put those layers? Is it something, for example, you can tie around your waist? Because running with them in your hands might not necessarily feel comfortable. If you've got, for example, like a running top, which is like a backpack of some kind, so a running vest, those are great. Again, if you've got a way of being able to just stuff it down into the back, I use a Solomon S-Lab one, S-Lab 10. Works really well. The other brands are available. Innovate do some amazing ones in that kind of space as well. So it's looking at the climate that's out there, and again, it might be looking at your shoes as well. If you're running and it's on the road and it's not too icy, then your road shoes are probably going to be okay. But if it's in, for example, snow, you might want to change to trail shoes. If you're going to be knowing you're running across a field and it's going to be wet and slippy, you probably need trail shoes with bigger grips on things. So it's thinking about where you're going to go running, what kind of equipment you need to have to go with it and make it continue to happen. But that's just looking at it from a running perspective. You can use similar kind of ideas if you're going to do things like cycling as well. So make sure you're layering up. It becomes a little bit easier on a bike. So obviously you can then pop things onto the back of the bike, or you've got somewhere to store the things that you're carrying with you. So that makes life a little bit easier. But yeah, it's all about how can you adjust things around your schedule. So back to the whole idea of, you put things into your plan, put them in your diary, and then it's a case of moving your diary around to make things fit. Don't cancel on yourself.
Yeah, and all these things like help you stay consistent, and some other things that might help you stay consistent is like having a checklist or like putting it in your calendar, like you already mentioned there, and then process the wins, like celebrate the victories of like you are still doing this at this time of year.
Oh god,
and that'll definitely help you.
And some days it can feel absolutely amazing. I mean, when you've been out there, you've had a really crisp. I mean, some of the mornings, the sunrises are just phenomenal. the colours on the ground and the way it reflects. Yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous. So there are moments of just absolute pure gratitude being out there and saying, actually, no, I am doing this. And you'd miss that if you weren't taking those moments to actually go out and have those runs or go for those cycles. And likewise, for example, there's going to be times where you might be having a really stressy day, but actually, because you kind of scheduled in time to go into the gym, that you can kind of work off all of the kind of adrenaline, all the cortisol, coursing around your body, and you finish it and you feel fantastic. You feel tired, don't get me wrong, but all of a sudden you kind of get that euphoria feeling as you've got like the dopamine and oxytocin and serotonin kind of running through your body and the rest of the endorphins, etc. And that means that when you're going back in then spend time with your family, you're in a much better place.
Yeah, you've almost used it as your downtime, but kind of not.
Yeah.
Which is like equally important.
Absolutely. It's a bit of me time. And that's the thing to remember. It's important that you do have your me time.
Oh, definitely. Especially when things are busy and the calendar's crazy. Like if you can get that time to go on your run, go to the gym, go climbing, whatever it's going to be, it's just so important to help you with like the rest and recovery. Like it's like active recovery, but like for your mind and everything.
Yeah.
And then it'll like put you in the right state to like sleep well and increase your performance, stay on day.
And it's never going to be perfect. And again, it comes back to that idea of not driving for perfection. Just keep driving for progress. If you can progress every single day, then that's fine. And I know, for example, at the moment, I've dialed things back. So I'm down to about 4 runs a week, usually about 3 resistance training sessions a week at the moment, trying to get at least 3 to 4 yoga sessions in a week. And I'm finding that challenge at the moment because things are hyper busy right now with everything that's going on.
Yeah. And the days are getting shorter and shorter.
Exactly. So
it's pushing a rock up a hill, but you just got to keep doing it because by like May time, it'll all get better.
Well, and also it's taking the wins, like you say. So you're looking at things and you're saying, yeah, I feel fantastic because I've done this for me, and actually reflecting back on it. It was really interesting the other day. I think it's probably about 3 weeks ago, actually. I put a post out on social media just talking about the fact that we got towards the end of October and, just have a moment to like look back and think, what have you actually achieved in October? And the number of people that got back in touch with me directly and said actually that was so powerful because they had been through the whole of October. And October was one of those months where you kind of, it just feels like nothing's kind of happening. It's like, yes, you're getting towards the end of the month, it's school holidays and Halloween and those type of bits, but actually the rest of October it's just like a non-month. It's not like you're going away on holiday and stuff. In fact, for many people they finish doing the holidays and it's almost like a blue month, a bit of a depressing month. But for them, all of a sudden, because they've been given that challenge of saying, actually pick out in October all those things that you have actually achieved, all those moments, for example, that you could have said no to going to the gym, but you said yes, all those days there, you could have not been on your meal plan, but you said, yes, I am going to be there. And you actually nailed it every single day. All those days, for example, that they got up and they enjoyed that sunrise, that sunset, whatever it was that gave them that win, effectively, that bit of celebration. And the number of people that came back and said that it was so powerful because they now had a way of actually looking back through things and saying, I did move, I did eat well, I did look after myself. And actually, these are all the great things because otherwise the daily melee will always bring you back to all the problems that you've got, all the things you haven't done, all the things you haven't achieved, how many people have kind of given you a bad comment, etc. So you need to kind of be there to constantly train your mind to look for all those positives as well.
Amazing. Well, I think that was an extremely motivational way to end the episode. Hope you took some stuff from that, everybody. And please follow us on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube.
And as always, a big thank you to all for taking the time out to listen to this episode of the Fit Business Life podcast. The Fit for Business Life podcast is brought to you in partnership with Sharp Fit for Life and the Business Body Network, helping professionals and their teams become even happier, healthier, and higher achieving in business and in life. If you'd like to join us on the show as a guest or get in touch to know more about the topics we've covered, then we'd love to hear from you. Simply email hello@sharpfitforlife.com. Once again, thank you for listening to the Fit for Business Life podcast. The Fit for Business Life podcast is produced and presented by Wax Tie Limited. Copyright is applied.